Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Buck Theater, and Star Trek as a franchise is one that I love. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big Star Trek fan. Obviously, way more into Star Wars, but look, we're not here to have that debate. All right, we're here to talk about Star Trek news. After Beyond came out a couple summers ago and failed to have the worldwide success that Paramount wanted, things have been a little bit kind of quiet in regards to, well, the future of the franchise. We did hear about a Star Trek 4 that was going to be coming out. They kind of announced this right before the release of Beyond. It was going to be kind of dealing with time travel. Very funny that it actually would have been Star Trek 4 of the reboot, whereas Star Trek, Voyage Home, number 4, was about time travel, just kind of keeping in line with that. I thought that was kind of cute. And then, of course, there's been nothing on that. And then we heard that Quentin Tarantino has put together a writer's room to come up with a Star Trek script. No idea what's going to happen with that when a lot of people involved with the franchise, who or at least have been involved with the franchise, have come out and said, probably not going to happen. Probably not going to be a thing. But we never know. We never know if Tarantino will make his final film a Star Trek film. But Zachary Quinto here, Mr. Spock himself, has a couple other things to say when talking about the future of the franchise. In fact, he says here, when talking a bit about what's in motion during a recent interview, he says, the only thing I can say is that there's a lot of energy around these movies. Which ones are going to happen? Which ones might happen first? I can't really say. I don't know, honestly. But I know there are lots of conversations being had about it. I know there are lots of plans afoot to do at least one, if not more, movies. Well, that makes sense. With Star Trek Discovery, you can hate it or like it. It's entirely up to you. But there is definitely a kind of renewed interest from some parties in the direction that Star Trek Discovery went, liking the kind of darker take on the franchise. Again, some hate it, and that's entirely fine, but they could be looking at that as a potential pathway going forward, is taking us into the dark, gritty world of Star Trek. I'm not a fan of that myself, personally. For the show, I think it's fine, but for the cast and crew of the Enterprise, no. I think no. Keep it, it's good where it's at. Now, he went on to say, I know Paramount, under their new administration, is eager to keep the franchise going. I feel like as soon as we go reconvene and then there's a script that the studio believes in and a director, whether it's Quentin or somebody else, that comes up, hopefully we'll move all forward. I'm pretty sure Quentin is doing his other project, which he wrote, so that might recontextualize things in terms of the chronology of how we might make more than one movie if we make more than one movie. And of course, he's being vague because he has to. But he made an interesting point there. Underneath Paramount's new leadership, Paramount has taken a bath over the course of the past couple years. Very few things have done well, if at all. Transformers 5, the 5th movie in that huge couple billion-dollar franchise, crashed and burned. Star Trek Beyond failed to connect with the audiences in theaters. I loved it, so that was unfortunate. There are other franchises, they're even talking about rebooting Transformers after Bumblebee. Like after Bumblebee comes out this fall or this winter, they are talking about rebooting the whole thing. Paramount is in some shit, and it needs to figure itself out. But Star Trek is obviously, and it should be, their most valued franchise. Simon Pegg did a good job with Beyond script. He did. And he talked about how or why he thinks the movie failed. And I think he brought up some good points there. And I'm sure each of the cast members are obviously going to have their own thoughts and opinions on it. But that being said, when looking at the future of Star Trek as a whole, what you need to, what Paramount should do is look to see what worked. Even with this new cast, treat it like that. If you want to do a crazy time travel thing, not the first time it's been done, all right, I would personally prefer something along the lines of a take on Undiscovered Country, where it was more of a political thriller than it was something like Star Trek 5, right? And I think they could pull it off. I think if Paramount does it the right way, and they create it the right way, I think the movie will have a shot. But it all depends on when they release it. Traditionally, the Star Trek movies have come out in May, the 1st and 2nd in May. Beyond was July. They should push that to the fall. Find an off-season time, something like that would do well. And I think that has a lot to do with some success of other films. We've seen other movies, big summer tentpole films, that have been pushed to the off-season and have done remarkably well. The summer season is far too crowded for something like Star Trek. I personally believe that putting it out in the winter would probably be better, because it feels like more of a winter property than something like Star Wars or something like Marvel, which feel very summer in the way they're designed. Star Trek is different, and I think they should play it to that effect as well. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this. I hope Quinto has a little bit, a little bit of an inside track here and what's going on. I hope he understands what's going on, and I hope he's given us some more info and kind of feeding into the hype, because as much as the movies have been criticized for their new take on things, I've always enjoyed them, and I'd love to see them continue with the cast, because I'm not quite ready to walk away from them just yet. But I do want to know what you guys have to think about this. Do you think that Star Trek 4 will ever happen? Do you think it's just going to be a total reboot down the road? Quentin Tarantino's movie, is that ever going to happen? These are things I'm curious to know. Go ahead and let me know in the comments. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been $3 to Eat. If you haven't already, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, and check back often for more content from me. In fact, if you want to see more content from me, you can do so right now.